main mounting point in the centre of this rear toe point was cut out when I removed the floor from this car to make room for a giant diffuser. And if I make a new toe point and I attach it here in the middle, it's likely to pull the back of the car out under the forces of towing. So I've remade and re-strengthened this bracket holding the rear wing and put two large bolts right through the chassis rail and welded two 16mm metric fine nuts to it. So this toe ring from a wrecker's yard can go through the bodywork and screw securely in place. This was the front toe point on this car when it arrived in my workshop. You can see that U-bolt's on the light side, and it's relying just on the thread of those nuts to hold the weight of the entire car. The bracket that it's bolted to is a bit on the light side anyway. I would consider that not strong enough. But this toe point won't work with a flip-up front end anyway. So we need a new front toe point, and with a flip-up front, there's only really one of two places it can go. If you've got a plastic windscreen, you can fit one here going through it and attaching to the front of the roll bar, or you can just attach it to the A-pillar. This is what drag racing funny cars with flip-up front ends do. The second option is right under the front of the clip, and this is where I'm going to fabricate one for this car. This main chassis rail is the strongest point at which to attach a front toe point, but the nuts on the bolts that were there holding the old bracketry are too small. A decent pull with a snatch strap by a tow vehicle will just pull those nuts off. So the place to attach the point is strong, but those bolts are a bit weak. So what I've done is made up a new bracket incorporating another tow hook off a car from a wrecking yard, and I've incorporated into the bracket extensions that go around either side of the main chassis rail and straddle it. And so now the bolt goes right through the main chassis rail, the nuts hold it as well, and the big nut there. So that will take all the forward force. I don't think that's going to break. Now I've produced the front clip, I can start making some of the little bits and pieces that go on it. And the best thing is that after making this, everything else is easy. I'm going to start with the bumpers. We're required to include the bumpers or the shape of them in our sports sedans rules, and I don't have a bumper. I've actually got something in this case that's better. The client had a mold of a front bumper, but as you can see, it doesn't quite fit. I also don't want to put the bumper across that air vent to feed cold air into the radiator. Instead, what I want to do is I want to basically cut this in half and use both ends of it and make two bumper bars along the style of the bumper bars that came out on GTR Belletts. So I've got to make a copy of this, and that'll give me the two dummy ends, and I can cut those and sculpt them and then make a mold off them, and then make the final copy to go on the cars. For this dust-covered Bellett sports sedan that I'm reviving, today is carbon fibre day. I'm about to make 7 pieces for it. 2 large canards, 2 front air dam end plates, 2 front bumper bars and a new rear bumper bar to match them. Yet another surprise for the owner of this car. I'll start with carbon fibre, but the backup layers will be fiberglass to save on costs, and I'll use epoxy resin throughout the whole process. When the owner of this Bellett saw the blue shimmer crystals that I'm using in the bodywork of my black off-road buggy, he said he'd like some on his car as well. But he's decided to paint the car red again and blue wouldn't work. So I went to my supplier to try and get some red shimmer crystals, but they don't carry them because they only hold stock for swimming pool manufacturers who don't use them. So I hunted around a bit on the internet and I found these. Ladies use them in their fingernail polish. So I'm going to add them into the clear coat that I normally put over the top of carbon fibre to give it that high gloss look.
Rave.